Children are the future. You've probably all heard that phrase before, right? It's so familiar. So familiar, but absolute nonsense. The phrase, children are the future, is usually repeated with good intentions. But when it comes to AI, it's not just wrong, it can actually be dangerous. Today, I want to explain why. I'm a researcher in AI ethics, and for the past 5 years, my research has focused on understanding children's relationships with AI and seeking to give children a voice in shaping the future of innovation, as well as policymaking and regulation. This is so important because children will likely be the group who are most impacted by advances in AI technologies, but they're rarely given an opportunity to shape decision-making about those technologies. They're not in the room when tools are designed, or when rules are written, or policies are made. And that's a big problem. And it's a big problem that in my work, I try to fix. So I talk to children, I listen to them, and I make sure their voices are heard. I bring children into conversations with researchers, with policymakers, and with developers of technology. And I've brought children's voices into high-level spaces like the UN Internet Governance Forum and global AI Action Summits. Now, here's something I've noticed. When I speak to decision makers about the importance of involving children, people tend to agree. They tend to nod along. They say, yeah, that's important. But when people nod along and agree, that agreement can often conceal lots of subtle disagreements or misconceptions hiding under the surface. And those misconceptions can have big consequences for the ways children are engaged. So the first big misconception that I often come across is around the reasons for involving children. People tend to say, yeah, it's important, we should involve children because children are the future. There's that phrase again. But think about what that means. It suggests that we value children for who they will become rather than who they already are. It leads to approaches that are focused on teaching children, preparing children, getting them ready for future jobs, ready for future responsibilities, ready to fix the problems that we leave behind. But that approach misses something important, because children are not just the future. Children are a part of the here and now. Certainly when it comes to AI, for children today, AI isn't something hypothetical or futuristic. It's very much a part of their day-to-day lives today. Very young children, including infants and toddlers, play with smart toys that use AI to adapt and personalize as they play. Video sharing platforms use AI to predict which videos are most likely to keep children watching. And social media platforms use AI to predict which content is most likely to keep children scrolling. And more, we're seeing that teenagers are increasingly turning to AI for emotional support and even for mental health advice. And then there's all the ways that AI is used to shape decisions about children's lives in education, in healthcare, in social care, in housing, often in ways that children and their families don't even know. Now, under the UNCRC, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, children have a right to a say in matters that affect their lives. Clearly, AI is significantly, profoundly impacting children's lives, and they must have a say, not in the future, but right now. Now, the second misconception that I often come across is this idea that adults know best. We like to think that, don't we? That as adults we have all the answers, and that it's our role to teach, to guide, and to protect children. And of course that's important, but it's not the full picture. Certainly when it comes to AI, adults don't always know best. Children tend to be early adopters of new technologies, but they also use those technologies in very different ways from how adults use those technologies. Often in ways that adults don't expect, and in ways that the designers of those systems didn't anticipate. What that means is that if we approach this purely from an adult's perspective, or based on adults' experiences, we miss what's really happening. We miss the real risks, and we also miss the opportunities to maximize the benefits of technology for children. That's why, in my work, when I engage with children, I'm not there to tell them what to think, or to give them all the answers. I'm there to listen, because from listening to children, we get insights that we simply can't get from anyone else. Insights that are important to develop technologies well, and insights that are absolutely essential to develop appropriate and effective policy and regulation. Now, the third big misconception that I often come across is this idea that AI is such a complex topic that children can't possibly understand it. That simply isn't true. I've run workshops with children as young as 7, on the topic of AI. And believe me, they absolutely get it. But more than that, they care about it. They want to talk about it, and they want to shape it. So let me share with you now some of the things that I've learned from speaking to children about AI. First of all, children don't see AI as good or bad, black or white. They enjoy grappling with the grey areas. They ask difficult questions, and they challenge assumptions. And they also enjoy creatively thinking up ways that AI could be developed and used better. So children I've spoken to have imagined AI tools that could make play areas safer. They've dreamt up AI tools that could help children from different languages to learn and play together, or systems that can support children with additional learning needs. They want to see AI used to protect the environment, to support healthcare, and to lead to fairer outcomes for everyone. But this excitement about AI is always balanced with concern. Children have told me that in education, they're really worried that if AI is used more and more, it might mean that decisions are made about them based on metrics and data that don't take account of who they are as individuals or of their personal circumstances and needs. They're really worried about bias in AI models and that this leads to unfair outcomes. They're worried about mental health impacts and the ways that AI is used to create addictive online experiences. They're concerned that AI tools aren't safe for them to use. They want to be able to learn and play in the digital world as well as the physical world. But at the moment, many tools have been designed without children's needs or interests in mind and are simply unsafe for them to use. And many children tell me they're deeply concerned about the environmental impacts of AI. And actually, this is one of the findings that comes out really consistently through all this work. Children have told me they don't want to use AI at all because of its environmental impacts. Now, I think environmental impacts of AI are beginning to get wider attention, wider public recognition, but I have never heard this discussed as clearly or as forcefully as I have from children. And time again, children tell me the same thing. They don't feel heard. They're not asked for their opinions, and when they are asked, they're not taken seriously. So that's why, in 2025, I organised and ran the world's first Children's AI Summit. We brought together 150 children and young people between the ages of 8 and 18 from right across the UK. It was an entirely child-led event. All the speakers were children, and the agenda was developed from ideas and priorities submitted by the children who took part. During the day, children spoke, they shared their ideas, and they shaped the conversation. Now, from the Children's AI Summit, we produced the Children's Manifesto for the Future of AI. And that manifesto was presented by a 12-year-old girl to world leaders at the Global AI Action Summit in Paris. The manifesto sets out a vision for the future of AI, a powerful vision, and a vision that radically challenges the current commercially driven trajectory of AI technologies. Now, the Children's AI Summit was an exceptional event, but it shouldn't have been exceptional. Children should always be included in decision-making processes that affect their lives. For too long, children's voices have been missing, and because of that, we're missing out on something important. Because when you involve children, it's not just about doing the right thing, it's about doing things better. Now, I'd like to finish by sharing the words of some of the children who took part in the Children's AI Summit. And this is a quote from 4 11-year-olds who spoke together at the summit. And they said, I hope you can make sure that AI... Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm going to have to read the quote, which should be coming up. They said, we don't want to see AI used to make a few people have more while everybody else has less. I hope you can make sure that AI is used to help make a kind, safe, and fair world for everyone. That's their vision for the future, and it's a vision that could benefit all of us. So let's stop saying children are the future, and instead recognise children are the here and now. Thank you.